At its core, the Democratic Party is a party of black and Hispanic voters with college educated white voters on top. It used to be blue collar white voters. They moved to the Republicans. And as blue collar, non college educated voters moved to the Republicans, a lot of the upper income, secular, college educated voters wanted nothing to do with the blue collar whites. So they moved over to the Democratic Party. The problem is these people live in a land of make believe. They live in a bubble, often urban coastal enclaves. They go to school with each other. They connect with each other. They network with each other. They tend to want to, as white people, speak for black people. This reminds me of the multiple stories I've heard over the last year in different racial reconciliation groups where white women were explaining to black women how those black women didn't even know they were oppressed because they had so imbibed in white supremacy. I've heard the story more than once from multiple people around the country that the white women were lecturing the black women on, no, you don't understand how oppressed you are, when the black women didn't believe they were oppressed. They live in a bubble. And these young, white, secular, atheist, single Democrats, or I shouldn't say single, childless Democrats, wish to speak for the black and Hispanic community that is a part of the Democratic coalition. And the problem is these young, white, childless Democrats who are increasingly influential in shaping the opinions, positions, views, and pronouncements of the Democratic Party. They're surrounded with people who agree with them on what the big issues of the day are, and no one in real America does. So, for example, they think nonstop masking, double masking, triple masking is good. They think Democrats should prioritize climate change and the Green New Deal because they care about it passionately. And if it drives up fuel costs for the poor, well, so be it. You're saving the planet. They think transgender cultural, social, educational policy is a good thing, and your children in kindergarten should start learning that people can be non-binary and can be spirit to animal, whatever the hell it is, to spirit, pansexual, and your children in kindergarten should know what it means to be pansexual. They think a lot of things that are not so. G.K. Chesterton, the Catholic philosopher, theologian, brilliant writer, philosopher, said the danger in not believing in God is not that you'll believe anything, but that not that you'll believe nothing, but that you'll believe everything. The danger of not believing in God is not that you'll believe nothing, but that you'll believe anything. And these people, having rejected God, have decided to believe everything crazy. They are Romans 1. And the Democratic Party elite listen to these people. And as they listen to these secular, white, progressive young people, they tend to ignore that black and Hispanic people in the Democratic coalition are culturally very conservative. And as a result, Hispanic people first, because they don't have the historic anchor to the Democratic Party that black people do, but Hispanics are starting to leave the Democratic Party. They're starting to go to the GOP, in part because of jobs, but also because of cultural issues. And here is where David Shor clashes with the Democratic elite, some of whom have surveyed why Hispanic voters went to the GOP. And many of them say it was about jobs, and they had jobs under Donald Trump. And that holds out for some, but for most, you get to a cultural issue. They believe they'll get jobs because Donald Trump and the Republicans reject socialism. But the young elite progressives, whites in the Democratic Party, they don't interpret the data that way, and they miss it. David Shor does, and he says, you got a problem. You have a cultural, social problem. So what does David Shor recommend they do? It's the one thing they can't do. Stop talking about issues that aren't popular with the most of the people who vote. Stop talking about the issues that will cause you to lose. The problem is, you know this, every single person knows this, the white elite in the Democratic Party, they become the party of Karen. who's in your face and telling you all the stuff that Karen thinks you need to know, whether you want to know it or not, trying to force you to care. You will be made to care. Karen will make you care about climate change and about transgender rights and about your children needing to know about Drag Queen Story Hour and about the police being bad and the need to defund the police and the need to let people out of jail and the need to get rid of bail and on and on and on and on. Karen gonna make you care. The problem is people are carrying in the opposite direction. And that's David Shore's point, is the Democrats are being led by a bunch of people who care about things and want to do things that most people don't. And those things pull terribly, and these white Democrats won't shut up about it. And Shore's position is, listen, I agree with you on these things, but stop talking about them. And they won't. Because they won't. They're going to lose. And when they lose, what are they going to do? Well, they're going to say that the Republicans suppressed the vote. Stole it from them. Because a progressive cannot acknowledge his ideas are unpopular. So if he loses, it must be a conspiracy. Voter suppression. It's got to be theft. Because who doesn't support climate change? Only the bad people, only the terrible people. And the progressives, they're surrounded by good people, surrounded by well-meaning people. So everyone must care about these issues. Everyone must care. Except they don't. And the Democrats don't know it because in their bubble, in their progressive enclaves, the members of the media, the reporters, the journalists, the editors, the opinion writers, the pundits, they all care. They all think the same thing. And so no one else can disagree with them.